That in 1.6 billion years, the sun will boil off all the oceans and we will have to go somewhere else. But you dropped it very casually. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so the sun is just a nuclear reactor, okay, a fusion reactor, and it has a limited amount of fuel, okay? So once it starts burning a significant fraction of the fuel, it will start dying. And within a billion years, it will become brighter, actually, to start with. And then it will boil off. The temperature on Earth will rise, and all the oceans will evaporate. The Earth will become a desert, just like Mars. You know, Mars lost its oceans because it lost its atmosphere, but the Earth, in the distant future, will lose its oceans because of the sun getting brighter. And when Elon Musk talks about saving humanity by going to Mars, I don't see that as a great vision, because Mars is just another rock nearby. So we go from one rock to another, just like if you are in the jungle, you go from one tree to another, and then it's a big success story. No, you just found another tree. So who cares? Like, the real advance of humanity was to go from those trees in Africa to a high rise in New York City or somewhere else, a big city. That's a big transition. We are not dependent on the bananas that are happening to grow in our environment. We actually can have agriculture that makes the amount of food that we need, that. So the next transition is actually to build a habitat in space that can support us. And by the way, I see that less of a jump than going from the jungles of Africa to a high rise in New York City. Going from a high rise in New York City to space is less of a transition, as far as I can tell. And I see that as the future of humanity. I do think that we need to go to space. I don't think we should just target another rock that happened to be next to us, like the moon or Mars, because that's very narrow-minded. So the moon will also be inhospitable in a billion years. And we should build some habitat in space that supports us, and then we can go places.
I mean, I don't know that you want to go to Mars. The radiation is very bad there. There's a lot of things that seem very inhospitable that I would not want to go there. Um, if we think about the interstellar gardener theory and Earth like an experiment or like a recipe that was created and potentially many, you make a lot of muffins that fail before you make your first great muffin that has all the good things in it. So if Earth is this amazing recipe that was created, potentially there's a bunch of failed ones before, potentially there's a bunch of failed attempts at humanity to evolve. Some of the conflict may be, are we going to destroy ourselves through potential nuclear annihilation?
Yeah, and by the way, related to what you just said, there is a question. Suppose you dig down in Earth. Could there be any? We haven't found any computer terminals in digs, right? So it's reasonable to assume that we are the first technological civilization on Earth, but that should not be taken for granted, because if it happened, let's say 200 million years ago, the surface of Earth was mixed with the interior as a result of geological activity. So so far we haven't found evidence for a technological civilization that predated us. But if you go 200 million years back, it's just 5% of the history of Earth, going back, to when it was 95% of its current age. It could have been that there was intelligent life back then and it was wiped out. And that's another thing that would make